How's it going, everybody? Jamie Monroe here. Really excited to welcome Michael Phipps to the Virtual Lacrosse Summit. Michael is the offensive coordinator and assistant coach at Georgetown, and he's doing a presentation for us today titled Playing in the Gray. Michael, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you having me. Pumped to share some stuff with you guys.
Yeah, you got it.
We're good to go here. So, what we'll talk about is something that we talk a lot about is playing in the gray, playing fast, and I'll go into a couple of drills that we do and exactly what that means. But if you break 6-on-6 offense down, I kind of break it into three different categories. One being, what are your principles? No matter what set you're in, no matter how you're playing, what are things that are important to you? And it could be different for everybody, whether it's, see two passes away, shoot the ball overhand, or attack opposite. Whatever your principles are that are important to you is one category that you want to harp on. Next one, within 6-on-6 being your sets, whether it's, 1-4-1, three guys across the top, big, little, whatever that set is. And then the last category, which is what we'll talk about here today, is the gray area. And, it was my biggest challenge of coaching offense for a while now is how do we get good in the gray? What is the gray? And how important is the gray? Because if we broke down our stats from last year, and 29% of the goals we scored as a team were scored in the quote unquote gray area that we talk about. And that includes, extra man, transition, off the face off, everything. So what is that gray area? What does it mean? And we describe it as just the part of your offense when whichever set or motion you start in ends. It kind of becomes unscripted a little bit. A lot of times the ball gets to the backside, and then, if you do skeleton offense, sometimes you just kind of stop and then you go to the next one. But we don't want to reset. Your set is black and white a lot. Most of these possessions will come to a point where, you kind of rep through it and you shoot it. But when you play a game, a lot of times you rep through it and it doesn't end in a shot. So how can you continue to play, keep the flow good, within that possession? And it is extremely important now when you look at the shot clock, because, we don't want to reset, allowing the defense to reset, starting over. It's got to be continuous because the possessions aren't as long anymore. As a coach, you can't really script everything. So how can you teach and coach your guys to be able to continue to play offense throughout the possession? Okay, so how important is it? And like we said in the beginning, these are some stats here. And, you look into 6-on-6, 67% of our team goals were scored within 6-on-6. Extra man, transition versus zone, whether you go 5-on-5, play sub games, that sort of thing. That accounted for the rest of our goals. Okay, so we focused on all those 6-on-6 goals, the 67% we looked at. And out of those goals, 38% were scored because of what set we ran. But the other 29% was in that gray area. And it was just guys just making plays. Like someone just worked with someone was open, dodge, make a play. Them kind of being themselves was what we broke them down to. It had nothing to do with us as a staff. They just made a play. So we were like, okay, that's a pretty big percentage of the goals you score. So maybe that is something that we need to prioritize a little bit and talk about more, spend some more time on. That's a big chunk of goals that you scored. So we wanted to help them, give them some guidelines to make plays, encourage them to do that, but give them some direction on how to do so. And the first thing is playing fast, something that we talk about. It's the most important part of playing in the gray, I think. And it's a pretty hot topic is everyone wants to play fast. It's like, okay, what does that really mean? Is it moving the ball quick? Is it running around really, really fast like crazy? Is it getting a shot in 10 seconds? And I categorize it as just knowing what to do with the ball before you catch it. It doesn't necessarily mean moving the ball extremely quickly. It doesn't mean, getting a shot in 10 seconds. It just means if everybody who touches the ball knows what they're going to do with it next, and everybody off the ball knows what they should do then you're playing offense fast as a group, whether it takes 60 seconds to shoot, whether it takes 10 seconds to shoot, however fast the ball moves, doesn't necessarily matter, but ball's coming to you. If you think you're going to be the Dodger, then you should know that before you catch it. If you think you're going to go play two-man game with somebody, you should know that before you catch it. If you think you're going to bang it to the backside, great. You should know that before you catch it. So if we can play that way, then that means we're playing fast. That's how, not that that's right or wrong, but that's how we categorize the meaning of playing fast. Trying to maintain our flow, which I think is extremely difficult to do if guys are moving and being active, and that's just somebody dodges, have an outlet in front and behind. So now the ball can keep moving. Thing that we talk about a lot is 5 is greater than 1. So we put a much more of an emphasis on the 5 guys that don't have the ball than the guy that does have the ball. And we'll do a drill that you'll see next that kind of highlights that. As a coach, which is it's difficult, is being able to live with mistakes, let guys play through them. And can you go through possessions in a game where you just don't really say anything? Because that's when you kind of trust your guys. They're playing fast. They're playing together. The chemistry's good, and they're playing in the gray. And you can score because you have good players without being in their ear on every single pass or every 20 seconds trying to reset, go from one set to the other. Can you live with just let them move the ball and let them make decisions? So the first drill that we do, and we do this a lot, is we call it 5-on-5 rapid fire. I got it from Coach Warren. He introduced it to me, and we tweaked it a little bit, made it better. But it's become a staple of something that we do a lot. And I'll show you a couple clips on the drill here in a second. But the way it works is you have 5 guys. You have 5 guys out there, 5-0 guys, 5D guys. There'll be 3 reps really, really quickly. And the point is to be high tempo. You don't want anyone to have the ball for more than 4 seconds. Not that, that is something that we don't necessarily live by that when we play offense, the 4-second rule, because sometimes I feel like you can still play fast and you want a guy to have the ball for a while if maybe he's more of a slow dodger and whatnot. But for the sake of this drill, that is one of the rules that we have. And we're trying to create just insanity in this drill and just complete chaos. To the best we can, coach will throw the ball in. We want guy to dodge, 2 passes, and we dodge, and we just try and continue that throughout the possession. Like I said before, the more emphasis will be on the guys that don't have the ball. If somebody cuts when somebody dodges, which we want to encourage, somebody has to replace into the spot that was vacated. So off-ball guys need to work harder. They need to see where they need to be to allow the ball to keep moving. And the last thing is we tell our defensive guys they have to slide, whether or not they're beat, whether or not, they would in a game. You have to slide to every dodge because it's going to create ball movement. It's going to help the drill, and it's also going to help defensively with recovering and whatnot. So
quick question on that. On the cutting part, is it are you counting like clear throughs as cuts, or are you talking more about cut the middle from the backside?
It could be either or. There's really no set rule. It's if somebody decides to clear through, great. But the guy who's off the ball needs to see that, and he needs to replace for him so the ball can keep moving. If someone on the backside decides to cut through, which could happen, which we do a lot of, somebody off the ball needs to see that spot. So if we move it through X, someone is now there to be that second pass to keep it moving. So we encourage either or. We give them options. Whoever wants to cut through, go for it. But if you're a guy off the ball, you need to replace the guy that cut. And it helps because you don't necessarily know who the guy cutting is going to be. So you have to be super engaged off the ball, knowing where to get so we can continue to keep the drill moving. Hopefully that helps answer the question. And you'll see it a little bit here. So coming in from up top, we want 2 passes and we dodge, and I'll just kind of let it run and talk through it a little bit. Ball keeps moving. Turnover, fine. Next ball comes in. Should be 2 passes, 1, 2. Next guy should dodge. He clears through. Keep 1, 2. He should dodge. See guys moving off the ball, replacing, running around. It should be chaotic. Next ball should come in from the coach up top. Should be 2 passes, 1, 2. They should be sliding. so you kind of get the point of the drill here. We want it to be chaotic, and this was literally at the end of the year us doing it. So when you started out, it does not look very good. We see guys cutting through, replace one. He's got a shot. So if you have a shot, shoot it. You don't need to pass it if you feel like you could score. One pass, two pass. He's going to dodge. See guys are moving, replacing for each other. Should be passing it a little quicker. We're a little slow to get it to the backside there, but that's all right. All right, turnover, no big deal. Next ball comes in. 1, 2. Guys are moving. Trying to play as just as quick as we can here. A guy cuts through. A guy should replace on the backside. You know, good. And that thing there is something that we talk about is we want to throw the ball inside. We want to look skips. And a lot of times it's not the dodger who does that. It's the guy who catches the first pass is our guy, becomes our assist guy. Next ball comes in. 1, throws back to him. He's going to dodge. Guys are moving off the ball. You know, not sure as the drill unfolds. No idea where the shot's going to come from. Could come from anything. You see our guys moving, replacing, cutting. There's really the guidelines that we give our guys for the drill is all we do, and then we just want to keep playing. 1, 2. You know, you should move it. 1, moves it again. A little stagnant moving. But it makes it tough, really tough for the defense because they got to slide even maybe when they shouldn't, just to get them moving. That is, that's the drill. Sorry, one more here. He's going to dodge. See, guy cuts through. Now a guy should show at X so he can continue moving the ball. He should dodge. If you want to pick, that's fine. You know, should be one pass. Now we're hopefully getting a shot soon. Yep. I know it's a little redundant, but I do think it's a really, really good drill.
Awesome.
Because if you can make it as chaotic as possible, it just helps them make decisions as they're going through situations and playing fast and not really sure what's going to happen, but that's how the game's going to be. And then this is just a live game with us just playing Towson and no set. Ball hits the ground, blow a whistle on a push, and we just play. There's nothing, no set we got to organize in. Guys are just trying to play, and this is the rapid fire drill. I want the ball to move. You know, someone should dodge, but, you know, and if you can move it quick enough, we feel like someone's going to get an opportunity to make a play with a late slide. If the ball can continue and then gets to X, he ends up dodging. We don't score, but none of that was scripted. That was just a drill that we've done over and over again, and it shows itself in the game. Hopefully that was a good description of that drill. I don't know if it's not like a crazy, unbelievable drill. It's just something that I think gets your guys a lot better to help deal with that gray. And sorry, do you have a question there, Jamie?
I was just going to say that drill looks like a total blast. I mean, kids got to love that drill. I mean, I know for a fact they love it. I've heard.
Yeah, our guys do love it. They love it. I mean, we say our 5-on-5 rapid fire, and we do it like 3 times a week, and our guys start hooting and hollering. It's fun because there's a little direction, but
yeah,
it teaches them to kind of just, you got to be able to play in chaos.
No doubt. I mean, the other thing it does too is that you talk about thinking, knowing what you're going to do with the ball before you get it, and being able to think 2 passes ahead is part of that. And that's kind of what the 2 passes does, is it really forces people to think like, oh, there's a dodge. Oh, I can tell it's going to X. Oh, I gotta fill that backside position so we can facilitate that ball movement. And I'm going to be going, and then the next person is seeing that too. So there's like a lot of the thinking ahead portion that's so important.
And, you know, and even like right now, you know, obviously we're early in our fall for the next year, but the thing our guys are struggling with is when there's somebody dodging, like the other guys need to watch him and they need to see him, because sometimes it's, oh, someone else is dodging. You kind of go into la-la land and you don't pay attention, and maybe you're late getting to where you need to be.
Right.
We're struggling with that right now, but that drill is a big-time helper for that, I think.
No doubt. And I think it also is a big-time helper for the quick, clear-through decision in reading, hey, that's a lefty. He's probably going topside. Oh, that's a lot.
Right, no
Probably
question.
going underneath. And that one thing, I remember watching, University of Denver, I felt like did this stuff in the gray really well when they had their Zach Millers and
Hmm.
Tyler Paces, and all of a sudden they would just start going and they would start dodging alleys or topside, and it was usually based on handedness, kind of which way they
Yep.
were going, and their players were shallow cutting out of the way really quickly. It was pretty cool to watch.
Yeah, no question. I mean, we talk about it all the time. Is you got to know your personnel a little bit, know your teammate, and kind of play to his tendencies and see what's going to happen. So that's for sure.
Yeah, awesome stuff.
So cool. So next part of just offense that we talk about to help with this gray area is we just designate spots on the field, and we'll show you what they are in a couple slides. But a lot of times is if we cover these spots when the one guy dodges and the ball moves, chances are the ball's going to be able to continue to move if you have guys on these spots because somebody will be there. And we give guys options. When one guy dodges, you have options whether you want to clear through, drift, whether you want to counter, which is like a little pass and the ball comes right, you carry right back to where it came from. Flip it. Guys want to exchange. Somebody, we got to, if someone vacates one of those spots that we'll show you, then someone else has got to replace them. And could be an attackman. It could be a midi. Like, we don't really care who it is as long as it's someone. So these spots for us are just, I know everybody has them labeled different numbers or different areas. We just call them the spots here. And it's, one guy dodges, which you see my little lacrosse stick emoji there.
Yeah.
Say that guy dodges, then the other, let's just say midfield related here, that the other two guys are middies. They have a bunch of different options that we give them that they can do off this dodge, whether he goes underneath, whether he goes topside. Doesn't matter to us. Whatever you feel like you can do, go do it. If you want to get topside because you feel more comfortable doing that, do it. It's up to the other two guys to react off this, whether it's the clear through, whether it's the drift, whether maybe he flips to you, maybe you guys exchange, maybe it's a counter. But as long as you're ending up in these spots, and guys will change which spots they're in, the ball's going to keep moving, and you can just kind of continue to play without a scripted motion. So we just call this an orange drill. And we'll show you the drill in a second, but it's the 3 lines up top, 2 lines in the alleys, 1 at the point, which we call our top of the field. We want these spots covered. We will put just to help explain the drill, we will put a ball mover at X, whether it's a coach or an injured guy, and he's just there to help get the ball to the backside. We will put, and when we start the drill, we don't have a guy inside. It's really just the 3 guys up top, but we will add a guy inside because I think when you get good attackmen who say they're on the crease, you don't want them to stay there. So if you can move them to one of the spots up top, that's a positive. So we encourage just 6 guys covering spots. Don't really position, it's not, you're not designated into a certain position. It's just continue to keep the flow. If you're an attackman, you're in the spot, great. If you're inside, great. Just wherever you are, you need to know what you're doing. So I'll show the drill here. So, as you see here, so now, and the 3 lines up top. Okay, so there's 3 guys in the drill. 3 of them are up top, 1 at the point, 2 on the wings. We have a ball mover at X that you can't see right now, and then we have an attackman inside. So we want him to dodge, but we're not sure how the possession is going to go, because if you see has him go, guys are just replacing, staying in those spots. He counters here, throws it back. Now we get a dodge closer to the goal. Shot. Fine. Next rep, we see those 3 spots up top. He's going to dodge. See, they replace there on the backside. He's going to counter. The spots are still covered. If he wants to slow dodge, that's fine. Ends in a turnover. Gets down the alley. We should use our ball mover at X too, but there we go. We throw it through X. Still got these spots covered. See, our crease guy can get involved. We want him to a little bit. He gets through for him. But always those 3 spots up top we want covered. And you go into every rep, there's no scripted motion on how the possession will end. It's just these guys got to figure it out. Dodging a pole or dodging a shorty, we don't really care. See, crease guy can pop out. Someone should cut back into the crease like he does. The 3 spots up top are still covered. I don't, all these reps, we could end it. They're not ending goals, but I'm encouraged by these reps. And, you see us here in a game here is just no matter where the dodge starts, just got to end in the spots.
Yeah, it looks like it just makes the guys think fast and play fast.
No doubt. They have
the concept of the counter. I mean, it's like kind of like weave action, but it just allows you to just go either direction anytime, right?
Yep, exactly. That's a lot of times if it helps if your spacing's not good, you're not really sure, oh, should I stand here? Should I clear through? I don't really know. And then the counter just kind of erases all that indecision. But we'll just let these run. There's just a couple game clips here. But you see our spots are covered up top. Someone needs to get there. This is an attackman up top. He just happened to move up there, which is fine. But someone's got to get there. You see them getting there fast. A couple more, and as long as somebody covered, like I said, I don't care if it's an attackman. I don't care if it's a midi. It's never designated. It's whoever can do it, just get there. Now it's like we got someone replaces up here. It's a different guy, but you see our spots are still covered. Whether you pick, no big deal. The spots are still covered. He was looking to counter there, but he ended up shooting.
Yeah.
All right, now we'll get into it now. We'll dodge. Guys aren't really moving, but the spots are still covered right here. Not getting much. Keep it moving. He's going to end up countering. He gets through, pops out to the spot, gets to the middle, create a little indecision defensively, and we get a pretty good shot. So those 3 spots, we just talk about them a lot. Just be there. And then the last part of being able to play in the gray is when the ball gets to the backside, you can either dodge, you can move it, but the last option is go pick. And we just have a rule. You can green light the pick whenever you want. I don't have to tell you to pick. It doesn't matter where you are. Just if you want to pick, go do it. But whether it's from the crease, whether it's in a pass down, pick down, whether you go play a 2-man game, if you want to do it, go for it, especially when the ball gets to the backside. But if that does happen, the other guys off the ball need to recognize that and say, okay, now we have to move, and now we have to be involved, and we either 2-man exchange, 3-man groups, and those guys need to start moving and everything. You can't just have 4 other guys just standing there watching the picker. We want the other people, the other players to be involved. And the thing we talk about a lot is if you're off the ball when a 2-man game is going on, is we want to stagger our levels. So if you see here in this little diagram I did, if you see where the 2 X's are, you see the 2-man game with the emoji stick. Yep. And then you see the 2 X's off the ball. If they're on the same level, it's extremely easy, in my opinion, to cover because it's hard to throw to both of them. So we want one high, one low. So if you see where the arrows point to now, if there's one defender, it's hard for him to split 2 because you got the high C, you got the back pipe option. So we talk about that a lot. We don't want a straight line. We want to stagger. So
real quick on that, one question on that. So the key is not so much that you might be lined up like that to begin with. It's more about how you move from there, correct? Just
correct.
So that people that are watching understand that it's
Absolutely.
not that you can't have like this mumbo type of movement. It's just that if you stay in the same line, one guy can play both of you, right? Is that what you're
correct? Saying? Exactly. That's exactly right. Because we will start like that a lot. Based on where you happen to be on the field. If you go, sometimes the pick happens at the very beginning of your possession and you're kind of set for it. But other times ball could get to the backside. We have that green light to pick. Someone from the crease may go pick the wing, and it's like, oh crap, now this is where I am. Now I got to move and get to those staggered levels based on where I started. You can't script where you start all the time.
Yep.
So the last drill that we'll show you is it's not a 4v4 plus 1. So we'll have pairs on each side. One guy's got the ball in a 2-man game. The other 2 are just moving and ball mover at X. And sometimes we'll put a ball mover, what I mean by ball mover is just a hurt guy or a coach at the top and at X just to continue the drill moving. So 2-man game one side, and we don't have I do feel like certain players have different skill sets. So 2 guys we would want them to be really patient in the 2-man game, kind of poke and prod a little bit and no rush. And other guys aren't as good as that. So it may be quicker. So we don't coach every player the same within the 2-man game. It's really just trying to take advantage of certain guys' skill sets, because when you're playing in an offense with 6 guys, they're all going to be pretty different players, and you just try and take advantage of what they do well. So we'll show you the drill. All right. So as you see here, there's 2 guys on one side, and then you see the 2 guys working on the other side. If it crosses the field, that's fine. Then those 2 guys just go play, and the other 2 guys should be moving, as you see off the ball. A little unrealistic maybe, because you're never really playing 4-on-4, but we're just trying to teach concepts that could happen. You see our guys moving back. You use the ball mover at the top, throw it to the other side, see how they stagger their levels. They should. Not a great job there doing it, but they stagger their levels here. You see how you get the guy, if I can try and rewind that. You get the guy on the back. See how they start in a straight line right now looking at our backside guys. So number 10 and the guy on the lefty wing. And the question like you asked, oh crap. Hold on. They don't end. Sorry. All right, here we go. No, not yet. Okay, but they don't end in the same spot. See how they stagger their levels? It makes it hard to cover 2.
Yeah.
Use your guy at X. Someone's got to get to the backside wing. We're just playing fast and keep it moving. That cut and exchange inside. We could do it from up top where the ball comes in. Now there's no ball mover at the point. Same thing, really good cut inside. Had a back pipe guy and had a high C guy. Goes underneath. See how they stagger their levels?
Yeah.
Really hard for that one guy to play 2. That's if, the Dodger puts pressure on the defense. But here it's in a game. Those 2 guys move. Don't score, but similar concepts of that drill. I know a lot of people probably do that drill. It's not rocket science, but we do it a lot. And the reason why we do it is sometimes that drill will happen in a possession when the ball gets to the backside, because our guys just went and chose to go set a pick to the wing. So if that happens, then boom, all of a sudden you're in that drill. So you need to pay attention off the ball. Yeah, so I just wanted to show 3 drills, and that gray area is something that we emphasize a ton just when we play offense. It's that fine line of letting them play a little bit and then scripting everything. And I really don't think you can script everything. And, our year offensively this past year, statting it proves, to me at least, for maybe the personnel we had, was we scored a lot of goals in the gray area that just was not a play. It was not a set. It was just, you got to have 6 guys playing together, playing fast, and just seeing what happens. And you got to be able to live with that, I think. Being able to put guys in position to take advantage of their strengths. Like I was saying before, I think you're going to have 6 guys out there. They could be totally different, where one guy may need is just a split dodge and move it. Other guys may be an inside guy. Other guys may be a slow dodger, and that's okay too. It doesn't mean you're playing slow. Right. As long as you know when you catch it that you're going to slow dodge a little bit, maybe you're going to use a pick, you're still playing fast because you know what you're doing. So that's the
So
way.
playing fast for you has more to do with fast decision making than it does with just literal slow or fast.
Correct. Yes, it's totally. I think it's in your mind. It's think fast, knowing what you're going to do with the ball before you catch it, and it doesn't have to be moving the ball zing 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 around, and it's hot all the time. It's everybody can think fast, then you're making fast decisions, and good things will happen. That's the way that we look at it. Yeah, so that was my biggest challenge. We continue to work on it. And these are, the different things that we talked about. Those are drills that we do a lot. So I went back and I clipped like when the drills looked the best for us. So we showed you. So there's a lot of times when those drills look horrible, and that's okay. You got to be willing to just live with the chaos of the drill and turnovers but over time, the goal is to be really good at this stuff, hopefully in April and May. And it may take a whole year till your guys get comfortable doing it. And it's really, really hard to live with how bad it looks in the process. But
but it's funny because like so many times, you feel really good when your drill looks good, but it doesn't necessarily translate into winning a game. I think that's really important to remember.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully that was helpful or good
Michael,
stuff.
thank you so much for that. It's awesome stuff. And I got a quick question for you. Do you see, when you kind of look at IQ of players, do you see it requiring more IQ to play in the scripted or more IQ to play in the gray?
I think it requires more IQ to play in the gray. Scripted is really easy. It's like, okay, I'm supposed to cut here. I'm supposed to exchange with this guy. I should throw it there. That's really just kind of doing what you're told, really, and listening. Where I think playing in the gray is much more about your IQ, and it's up to us as coaches, I think, to drill this stuff, to let you work through the good, the bad, the ugly, so your IQ will get better, so you can take advantage of the gray areas. Because some guys, it takes a while, and they're not great in the gray, and these drills do help them. And so to answer your question, I think for sure IQ comes into play much more when you're playing in the gray. Just, okay, maybe that's strong lefty. Oh, cool. I'll go do this. Maybe I'll counter from my right hand. Maybe I'll go pick for him, get out of his way, clear through. And, maybe I'll slip this pick. And just being able to do that stuff on the fly, I think, has a lot to do with your IQ.
Yeah, for sure. And the whole idea of knowing what you're going to do before you get the ball, that's something that I was a soccer player growing up. And I remember really distinctly when I was a senior in college being like, I need to know what I'm going to do with the ball before I get it. And I trained myself in line drills, actually, where I practice, because the hard part of that is actually doing it and then being able to concentrate on catching it.
Right.
That's actually the hardest part of that. And
No
other than remembering. I mean, remembering might be the hardest part, but the physical part of it is to how long can you look away from the ball until you're going to, at the last moment when you're not, because then you can't afford to drop it, right?
No question.
But in the Premier League in England, they stat this, and they have a 10-second stat where they count head turns before receiving the ball. And they'll say that the elite players in that league will turn their heads 6 to 8 times in that 10 seconds, and the average players will turn their heads 3 to 4 times. So we started statting that in that, those video assessments that I sent you to check out. That's one of the stats that we do, is to literally either see your head turning or calculate how quickly you're making a decision. Because sometimes you don't have to turn your head to see. Sometimes you can just see it as you're receiving.
Right.
But
that's really interesting. Yeah, that's very similar to what we talk about. So that's very interesting.
Yeah, it's cool stuff. Well, Michael, good luck tomorrow in the alumni game. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. And this is awesome stuff. I think everyone got better at coaching because of watching.
Cool, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. I'll chat with you soon, buddy.
All right, brother. Thanks.
All right, see ya.